taking a step outside of the Power 5 in today's college football preview video for 2021. Shout out to my man, Sippy Sports Show. Go subscribe to him because today we're looking at the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard here with Ballard Sports Media. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching today. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. If you're new, we do college football, basketball, baseball talk. Although this is kind of that period. I know we got the finals going on. I'll definitely be talking some of that this week. But outside of that, not really into the big part of the baseball season just yet. Maybe give it a month or so when we get to like August. But we are getting closer and closer to a month like August. And that being said, we get closer and closer to college football. I told you I'm going to keep cracking down on these schedule previews. But we want to step outside the Power 5 today. Shout out to my man Sippy Sports Show. Go sub him up. Covers Southern Miss football, really all athletics. Love you, buddy. Sippy, if you're watching this, which I'm sure that you are, because it's your team. But I appreciate everyone for watching anyway. But I figured, with respect for him or whatever, I figured I'd look at them, look at their schedule. Plus, they do play my Crimson Tide, so I kind of got to give more thoughts on that. But overall, when you look at the schedule, before we get into 2021, let's look back at what they did last year. We had this pandemic going on last year. This year, not so much. I mean, it's going on, but we're going to manage it and we're going to handle it differently. Everyone had like a weird late start or whatever, although it looks like Southern Miss and Conference USA started on time. They opened up with South Alabama, and they lost that game 32-21. Then they had a early on bye week, on September 12th. Then they played Louisiana Tech, lost that, lost to Tulane, beat North Texas. Then they had back-to-back bye weeks. I guess maybe some rescheduling taking place, or maybe that's just how it was set up. It was very weird for all of college football last year, but even just looking at Southern Miss, even in Conference USA, it was kind of weird too. They lost to Louisiana Tech and Tulane. They did beat North Texas, though, on the road, which isn't really easy to do. North Texas is a good team at home. Again, take these teams and put them up against teams from the ACC or the SEC, and those Power 5 teams will probably beat these Conference USA teams. No offense to them, not trying to throw them under the bus, but I mean, this is Southern Miss, or even I just mentioned, they just got this win at North Texas. These are teams that in their own division, in their own conference, and Conference USA against other teams that they occasionally play with, they're great. But yeah, they had that win against North Texas. Then they lost to Liberty, lost to Rice, uh, beat North Alabama. They lost two straight games. Western Kentucky, another good team in this division or whatever. And then they played Texas San Antonio Roadrunners 23-20. These losses were close too. Some of them, the loss to Rice on Halloween was pretty tough though. Overall, again, 3-7, 2-4 in the conference. Lost their last game though over Florida Atlantic. Tough year for Southern Miss, but looking into it here, what can we expect in 2021? Well, it'll be interesting. Here's what they have at South Alabama. Then they play Grambling. Then they play Troy. Then, here we go, they play my Crimson Tide, come to Tuscaloosa. They played a few years ago. It's not a home and home deal. It's just, of course, any SEC team really any Power 5 team ends up playing like a Conference USA type of foe, um, on the schedule, Alabama gets Southern Miss. So you go to Bryant Denny, you play at Rice in Houston, Texas. You play UTEP. UTEP's a pretty interesting team. You get them at home. UAB, we know about them. They were ranked last year. They opened up with Miami last season. UAB's a really good team. You can't sleep on them at all. And UAB might be the best in the conference. You get a bye week, play at Middle Tennessee, play North Texas, at UTSA, at Louisiana Tech, and FIU at home, and then potentially, if you can win the division, play in the Conference USA title game on December 4th. Overall, is it a favorable schedule? I really don't know. I'd say obviously there's some games. When in doubt, I take the home team. I'm gonna be honest. I think it'll start out pretty good for Southern Miss. I think they go on the road. I think it's close, and I think they beat South Alabama. Um, then they got Grambling State. I think they win their first home game. Troy will be close. Troy is really, really good. They're not a bad team. Ask LSU. Anyway, Troy is good. You get them at home at least. If it were on the road, I'm taking Troy. That's a team in Alabama. I've heard about them. It's actually a really good school. I really don't know. I'm going to have to give that. I'll give you your first loss, and I'm going to say Troy gets an upset on the road, but I think they play you close. I feel like Troy might have some better talent. That being said, though, speaking of talent, real quick, Jack Abraham, the quarterback, led passing last year, over 1,000 yards, 65 completion percentage, 97 of 149. He had 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, took 11 sacks. O-line could use a little bit of work here or there. Keep your eye, man. Frank Gore Jr. Some people don't know this, right? Frank Gore played for Miami. Was drafted in the 3rd round of the 2005 draft. And he was a beast. He was probably one of the best we've ever seen. He was really great under the, under, God, he was great. I don't even know where to begin. Frank Gore had 16,000 yards a couple years ago. In total in his career, he reached that. And for a team like the Jets, who haven't made the playoffs in like a decade, but they still, like, the past, God, ever since, like, they made a wild card and flushed it down the drain or something, they've just kind of sucked. But they've had a player or two, like, I remember when they had Joe Namath, right? The Bama great, legend, quarterback, won the Super Bowl in a fur coat, all that. Frank Gore was a great player. Well, his son, Frank Gore Jr., is on Southern Miss. And according, again, Sippy Sports Show, who I'm doing this for, man. Love you. Mean it. Frank Gore Jr. is great. He had 708 rushing yards last year. That being said, is he going to be the leader for this offense? He might be. We will see. But yeah, so you have Jack Abraham led the team in passing, like 1,200 yards. Frank Gore, 708 rushing yards. Jason Brownlee, 610 receiving. Haynes Maples, the linebacker, led in tackles on defense at 91. So overall, it wasn't too bad for Southern Miss, at least stats wise. But obviously, a tough year last year. Then again, who didn't have a tough year? even, I mean, I know we had teams like Ohio State or whatever, whoever made the playoffs, but I mean, it was still one of those. 2020 was just weird, wasn't it? Not even just football, just in general. We don't speak of it, but 3-7 last year for Southern Miss. They bring a lot back. They are one of those teams. They're good in their own way. They're not the best of the best. They actually, I think they're better than a 2-4 conference record, and I think it'll show this year. You look at the schedule: at South Alabama, Grambling State, Troy, at Bama, at Rice, UTEP, UAB, bye week, Middle Tennessee. It's just gonna be interesting, honestly, and I'm gonna say that they run the table just a little bit. I mean, you're losing to Bama. I think UAB is probably going to be one of the best group of 5 type of teams there is. They'll be ranked. They always have great players. I think you lose at home to UAB. Louisiana Tech on the road is going to be a close game. It'll be a Friday night game. They already got the time set. Give me Louisiana Tech in that one. I think you beat UTEP. You beat Rice. You'll beat North Texas, FIU. Honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you. I think you guys go 8-4, and your only 4 losses will be Bama, UAB, Louisiana Tech, and UTSA, who you have the Roadrunners on the road at the Alamo Dome November 13th in San Antonio. So maybe looking at an 8-4 record for Southern Miss. That's pretty much it. That's going to do it. Shout out to Sippy Sports Show. Go sub him up. That's why I was doing this one. I normally don't do group of 5 type of teams, and I really don't get into Conference USA matchups. I try to stick to SEC, Big 12, Pac 12, ACC, Big 10. I try to stick to the Power 5 conferences, plus teams like Notre Dame or whatever that get in the ranks. But Southern Miss could be interesting. I'm going to have them 8-4. They could probably be 3-0 going into that Bama game, but it's not really going to be much or mean much. Bama's still probably going to win that game like 57-10, something like that. It'll be interesting to see. But overall, I think they could have a good season. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching and tuning in today. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And go check out the website, ballardsports19.wixsite.com. And if you ever have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at ballardsports. Or you could email me, ballardsports19@gmail.com. Love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Jesus loves you. Keep your head up. And remember that always. God bless. And roll tide roll. Ballard Sports Media. Check it out. We'll see you later.